So Jeffrey did two pretty remarkable things on his campus that are still in the progress. The first one is he advocated for change to the student intellectual property policy. And what that means is he was going to start his company, and he had to sign patents off to the university to patent his work, and his lawyer stopped him and said, "Do not sign this. This is not very unfavorable to your company." And so they really sat down and they said, "We need to change this." And so he got a bunch of students together with him that agreed that their policy needed to be changed. And so they did a lot of research over other companies, or sorry, over other universities, very large universities and their local ones, and they compared their intellectual property policies to see which ones worked really well for the students and which ones hindered them. And what you could find out is that the level of how many startup companies came from the student body was pretty directly proportional to what their policy was all about. Because the more flexibility in the policy for intellectual property, the more students would want to start up their own companies. And so he set out to change that, and he got key leaders from his campus to help him change that. And they're still in the progress of doing all that, but they spent about a year doing research to figure out what exactly they wanted to change, and then took all their information to their intellectual property manager, who's basically in charge of seeing that it gets changed. The next thing he did was advocated for change. He wanted to expand lab access to students who wanted to have a makerspace. And so what this means is that you've got all these kinds of students rising up at their universities that they need lab space to help their organization or their clubs grow. And these labs can be named different things. They're called Makerspace, Innovation Studio, or like a hacker workbench. I mean, it's just a place that students can go to have 24/7 access, and I mean, just a place for them to roam freely to build whatever they want to. And these places aren't necessarily open to all students because some labs are very specific to what major you're in. I know I come across this all the time. We have a lot of cool equipment in my major that, only the seniors have access to. Nobody else can even look at the lab. I mean, it's pretty serious. And so what Jeffrey did is he, again, got a bunch of students together that were actually doing really cool projects. And so he had a basis for saying, hey, these students need a lab. And so he's not just going around saying, hey, we need a lab, but he had proof about why these students needed a lab that he could take to some of the decision makers on campus. And so he took that to them, and they're still in the progress of doing that so far. But for time's sake, let's see if I can understand this chart right quick. So the makerspace definitely fits into number 2, potential value. I mean, you're giving a lot of space for students to bring out their potential. They're able to apply value to it, and again, they're able to realize the value of what they're doing. And I mean, it really fits into all categories here, because whenever you're giving students with passion an open place to express their creativity, anything's going to be possible. And that's what you're going to find out. I have a couple.
And I would agree with you definitely that for those who know that they want to do something but they don't quite know what, it's a place to be creative and kick around the tires and get hands-on, get roll up your sleeves and see what you can make and create. And similarly, if you think you have a specific challenge that you want to solve, a specific project, a specific problem, you need the tools to do a prototype, a solid model, do some programming in Arduino or Raspberry Pi, or like pick up a soldering iron or whatever. Like you may need to just rough out what your idea is and just need a creative place where you can build that thing.
Right.
And what about the IP part of it, would you say?
The intellectual property will definitely fits in, I mean, right here, number 4, realized value, because you've got students licensed the technology. I mean, they're licensing their technology. gaining flexibility then.
Yes, right. You've got a specific thing. You want to protect that intellectual property in order to allow you a basis to seek investment, to form a company, and allow you to sustain that company because no one else will develop knockoffs, or at least you'll be able to take them to court if they develop knockoffs. So that's that column 4, realized value. Absolutely. Nice work.
Thank you.